Another one, Paul here. Today I'm going to be going over a strategy, and this is using the linear line method. So I've made videos on this, and it's a very simple strategy. All you really need to have with the strategy is the concept of linear line regression candles, and then you have to understand how to use the ray tool, which is there to help you find important trend lines in the market. Now, my focus is longer time frames. You supposedly can do this for smaller time frames, but the best idea is to go to the longest time frame and work your way down, and you could find a lot of good moments to enter, and you can find a lot of bounces. So I want to teach you how to do this for crypto. I think I've covered it with stocks, so I'm going to go over this strategy for crypto today. We'll look at a couple assets. We'll look at a couple assets on higher time frames. Look at the day and 4 hour, things like that. And we'll look at a couple examples. So what you need for this is just you basically just need the linear regression candles. And then basically you have to understand where to connect it with, which you have to have 2 points to connect it with. So let me show you how to set that up. You only really need one indicator. You can have others if you want, but for this particular strategy, you only need one indicator, and concept of the ray tool. Okay, so we're going to start off. We'll look at Bitcoin here real quick. Here are these lines. We're going to look at a longer time frame. First, we'll start off with the day chart. Okay, so this is what I have here. Is I'm going to hide the regular candles, and I'll have my linear lines right here. So if you want to get access to your linear regression candles, you just go to linear regression right there. And once you have it, you want to make sure you hide the plot line, at least for this strategy. It can be used for a lot of helpful things, but for this particular strategy, we don't need it. I just basically want to show you how to use the linear line with the ray tool here. So the next thing you want is you want to go to a higher time frame, and you want to look for all the wicks here, and you want to find a low point. Now, if you're going towards a bullish momentum here, you want to look for a low wick matching connecting with a high wick. And if it's a downtrend, you want to find a high wick connecting with a low wick. So we see a couple examples here. So if we go down here to your drawings and you go to the ray tool is what you need. So you want to find a low point, the lowest point, which would be right here. We see the wick stick it out, so you hit there. And you just draw it out until it touches. It has to touch one of the other high wicks, which we see something happen right here. So this right here is your ascending. So the next thing you want to do is you want to find the nearest from that ascending trend line. You want to find the nearest point where there could be some resistance, which if we zoom in, that's around here. We got some resistance right around here to here. So right about here, we see it touching. So we would draw a line here. So this is your moment. So we drew this out on the day. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go down to a smaller time frame. If you did the day, you want to go out maybe to the 4 hour, or maybe smaller than that. So basically what we could figure out here is it could possibly touch this and come back down. And when it comes back down here, it could possibly come back up. So you'll be able to spot the bounces a lot easier. So since we drew this, let's just go to a smaller time frame. Let's go to like the 4 hour. And on the 4 hour, we could tell that because we drew it in the day, we could tell that it broke through pretty much. It broke through the line. But let's go to a smaller one. Okay, so what we could tell is that it is maintaining that line. So it might start going back up. And what you can do is you can go in a little further too if you want, if drawing so many lines doesn't distract as much, you can also find other trend lines. So I see one right here where there's down point right here. It touches right about here. So you see another one right here. Touches right here, bounces, touches right here, bounces, touches right here, is probably going to bounce. So once you have it on the day, you can actually go in and, for future purposes, you can note it out. You can change these to different colors. Change it to green. Change it to green for the day, and then the hour here you can have a different color. So you got one right here to here. You can change that maybe to white. So the green represents the day trend lines, and the white represents the hour. So very easy to follow. You basically want to, as long as it's following that line, you stay in the trade. Like right now would be a good time to get in the trade because it's most likely going to go up. And as long as it stays on this line, you're in a good trade. So the moment it breaks this would be probably the moment to get out of your trade. So let's real quickly look at this with a couple more assets. Let's go look at XRP. And let's first real quick, we'll look at this on the day. Now what we got to find are wicks, and I don't see that on the day. I don't see any two wicks that are touching each other here. It won't hit on a trend line, so let's just go down to another lower. Let's go to the 6 hour. See if we can find it on a 6 hour. Now we have right here, it's not going to touch. Probably won't touch. Yeah, that's not going to touch. So we can't find it on the 6 hour. We can find it here from like here to here. But that basically means from here to there that it has a lot of this room to come down, basically. But the lowest point would probably be around 259. But you want to get in a little closer, so let's go look at the hour here. See if we can find it on the hour. Now we do have it here on the hour. We see 2 points right here. See low point right here, high point right there. And you can even turn off your linear lines after you draw your trend line. After you draw your trend line, now I use the linear line for this just to get good, precise trend lines, basically. So you can turn off the linear candles and turn on the regular ones. You can see that they still bring a accurate. The trend lines are pretty accurate. So, but I prefer having the linear lines for now. It makes it look easier, and it's easier to find the trend lines this way. So you see a point touches right here, goes all the way up here, touches down here, which would basically mean that the bottom right now for XRP is about $3. So it's most likely going to bounce back up. And it could stay on this trend line and bounce until it breaks this trend line. And when it breaks that trend line, that's when you would basically get out of your trade. So as long as it respects this trend line, you can stay in your trade. The moment it goes through it, that's the moment you need to get out of the trade, because it breaks the trend. So basically what we can tell from here on the hour is we have some resistance right about here. So, it could bounce a little bit here, and then it could have some problems right here, and it could push down right about here. Or it could get all the way up here and then push down right up there. So, but as long as it bounces on that main trend line, you shouldn't run into any issues. I would follow this trade until it goes all the way up here, and until it breaks that trend line. That's when I would get out of the trade. So that's real easy. This is a really easy way to look at it. Let's look at one more asset in crypto. Let's look at where's it at? Ethereum. Now Ethereum, we'll do the same thing. We're going to we'll go to the day chart. Start from the day chart. Okay, so we want to start from the highest time frame, work our way down, see if we find any points that are crossing. So from this right here, see the lowest point right here, and it connects up here. So this is your touch point right here. And if you turn off your linear candles, you can turn on the regular ones. After you draw the trend line, you can see that it pretty much respects it. But I choose it with the linear lines. So we can see that it touches here, bounces, comes down, bounces again from here. So right now what Ethereum looks like, the bottom really, the bottom would be about $3,013, and it bounces up. So if you wanted to get into an Ethereum trade, the bottom right now looks to be about $3,033, somewhere in there. And it could be bouncing on this trend line until it breaks it, and once it breaks it, that's when you get out of your trade. But so let's real quickly look at this on a smaller time frame as well. Let's look at this on a 4-hour. See if we can find anything on a 4-hour. And you see, let's get rid of the day. So we see another one right here on a 4-hour. Connects here to here. And you can see we're also ascending up. Touches here, bounces up, touches here, probably going to go back up. And you can ride this out until it breaks that trend line. And when it breaks that trend line, that's basically when you want to get out of the trade. You see some resistance right about here. So anyway, those are 3 different cryptos that you can use with this strategy. It doesn't take much. All you need is your linear regression candles, and then you have to know how to use your ray tool there. Use the ray tool to find your trend lines.
So this is a pretty simple strategy. All you really need to understand is the linear regression candles. You can do this with the regular candles too, but the linear regression candles kind of help show you the trend a lot easier. That's why I use it. Once you find the trend, you can shut it off and you can use regular candles if you want, but I personally like using it with the linear regression candles. It's easier to spot the trend lines. So these examples I showed you were on an ascending path. You would do the same thing for a descending path. You would find a high point, connect to a low point with the ray tool. But anyway, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.